Hi guys! Today I'm super excited to give you my spoiler-free review for Marvel's Eternals, and if you missed it, be sure to check out my photos on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at MamasGeeky over there. I was actually at the world premiere in LA for this film, and I do have my initial thoughts, like a 1-minute video coming right out of the movie, my social reaction, as Marvel likes to call it, along with Real Rejects and Warren from Cosmic Wonder. That's up here already, so if you missed it, check that video out. But yeah, I was able to see this at the world premiere, and I can't wait to dive into all of my thoughts. Again, this will be spoiler free. I will have a spoiler video come out after this is released in theaters. Even though some stuff is out there, I refuse to be the one to continue to spread it. So you are safe. If you are ignoring all of the spoilers that people just flat out were putting out there immediately after the premiere, do not worry. This is a safe space. So let's talk about Eternals. I'm really excited to dive into this, guys. Hey, Tessa from MamasGeeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. Okay, so let me start off by saying that this is going to be, controversial isn't the right word, but this is going to be a film that gets mixed reactions, right? Even just from walking out of the theater. Some of us loved it, loved every second of it. Some of us thought it was okay, and some of us hated it. So this is definitely a movie that is going to bring a lot of different opinions to the table. And I can get it, right? I totally understand because, listen, as a massive Marvel fan, I mean, you guys, I've been reading Marvel comics since I was like 8 years old, and most recently reread a couple of runs, the Kirby run and the Neil Gaiman run of Eternals, to prep myself for this movie. And I can tell you that this movie is unlike any other Marvel movie we have seen. And now I know you might think that is a generic thing that people are saying. It's unlike any other Marvel movie we've seen. But it's true. This really doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. It really doesn't. Yes, there's action, and it is action-packed. Like, right from the start, we get kicked off with action, and then we have some other stuff happen, and then there's action, and then there's some other stuff happen, and then there's action. And so, yes, we get that action, and it's a lot of it, some of it, I guess, I'm trying so hard to keep this spoiler for you guys. Some of it feels like a Marvel movie action, yes. Some of it does not. And so that is kind of what I love about this. It feels like a whole new thing, right? Like, yes, it's Marvel, but man, these are 10 new superheroes that the general audience really doesn't know much about. So Marvel has to explain this to us, right? They have to explain every single one of these characters to us and give them their time on screen. That takes a long time to do, and it's hard to do, right? It takes a lot of dense dialogue, a lot of heavy writing, a lot. This movie is dense. This movie is heavy. That's something you are probably going to hear time and time again from different critics, but that is exactly what it is. Now, it's 2 hours and 37 minutes, I think it clocks in at, and I'm not sure if it's probably including credits and the post-credit scenes as well, but it is a lot. That is a long movie, but one thing I loved about this, guys, is it didn't feel that long. As it was starting to wrap up, and now you've got to understand, they take our phones, they lock them in these little pouches, so we can't check our phones, obviously, to see what time it is, which is a good thing. You're like right in it. They take watches if you have a watch. So I didn't know where we were at. It's starting to wrap up, and I'm like thinking, wow, I only thought this was like 2 hours in. It flew by. I don't want to say it flew by because 2 hours is a long time, but I mean, it gave it time to breathe, but it didn't mess with the pacing, in my opinion. This is obviously my opinion. This is my review, but I felt like this movie did a fantastic job of bringing us from beginning to end and getting to know these characters and getting to know what they were facing, right? So the gist of this is there are deviants, which are these creatures that are like lower than humans, then there's humans, then there's Eternals. And that's how it is in the comics as well. Little bit of a difference. The deviants are more like human-like or more sentient, I don't know what the right word is, but they're more advanced than the deviants that we see in the Eternals, which, as you can see from the trailer, is they're more like creatures, whereas in the comics they're kind of more like they've got like arms and legs and stuff. And I think that's just the drawings from the time back in the Kirby run. But that's not a spoiler, guys. That's stuff that's all in the trailers. But so it was interesting to see. So the Eternals basically are sent there by Celestials, kill the Deviants, boom, the end, right? That's what we've gotten from the trailer. That's kind of the description. And that's sort of how it is in the comics a little bit as well. So it was interesting to see that. I was like, all right, I'm in. Let's check it out. And like I said, there's so many people that need to be explored and understood, because you've got the 10 Eternals, right? Then you've let's learn a little bit about the Deviants. You've also got to learn a little bit about the Celestials. And then you even have Dane Whitman, who is played by Kit Harington. He's in it just a little bit here and there. He's a character in the comics, becomes something that's kind of a big deal in the comics, which they've said that is not going to happen in Eternals. That is what they've publicly said, officially said. It does not happen in this movie. It's something they will possibly explore in the future. So, but we have him. We got to learn a little bit about him. So there's a lot of people you have to learn about. So again, this is why it's very dense, very heavy. But something I love about it is that it felt like Chloe Zhao, who's the director and writer, was given time to, like I said, let it breathe, right? Let you sit on that stuff. Let you learn about these characters in a way where you're going to care for each and every one of these characters. Now, I did hear some people say that they felt like they weren't connected to these characters at all, and they didn't become emotionally invested. I was completely the opposite. I immediately fell in love with these characters, and it may have helped that I have read the comics and I know a little bit more about them. So it was easier to fall in love with them, and maybe easier to put pieces together that maybe they don't show on screen. Again, it's hard to say because I have read the comic books. So there's that. Definitely an advantage, for sure. They take stuff from the comic books, nods from the comic books that I absolutely love. Little bits and pieces of storylines, just little tiny things, and sprinkle them through. But this itself is a completely unique story, an untold story, which I love. I absolutely thought this was a great way to do it. I love when I sit down and I'm about to watch a comic book movie of characters that I know and love, and I think I know where stuff is going to go, and then it doesn't, and it completely surprises me. So I really enjoy that they were like, okay, we're going to throw in little bits and pieces here. Yes, these are the same characters, but we're going to change things up a little bit. There's a lot of gender swapping, right, which we know just already. Makari is a male in the comics. Sprite is a male in the comics. Ajak is a male in the comics. So they definitely switched that up a little bit to make it a little more inclusive, which is always nice. But so it's a lot of the same stuff, but changed a little bit, right? And then again, the story itself is like almost a completely unique one. Again, little things they've taken here, but just kind of turned it into something completely different, which as a comic book fan, I could truly appreciate. I absolutely love that about it. Just definitely the story itself, for me, I was, again, emotionally invested almost from the start. They throw little bits here and there. And then there's like twists and turns, which I was completely surprised by. Some I wasn't, some I was. And I think it was just, overall, it was done really, really well. I talk about there being tons of characters. Well, each and every one of these actors does a phenomenal job in their roles, okay? I mean, I absolutely loved all of the characters. I thought they were fantastic. I mean, Gemma Chan as Cersei is amazing. I mean, I could go down the whole list here. Kumail as Kingo. Oh my God, he's hilarious. He's so funny. He brings the humor. Almost every single time he's on screen, he steals the scene and he will have you cracking up. There was one point I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so hard at something he said. So he's so good. It's just, he's so good at that humor, and he is the comedic relief 100% in this movie. Sprite is fantastic as well. Absolutely adore Sprite. Now, for those of you who don't know, real quick, Sprite is an Eternal. Sprite is just as old as everybody else. However, she in the movie, he in the comics, looks like a child. So that's something that this person is having to deal with. This Eternal is having to deal with, right? The fact that they're older, but they are stuck in this body, because Eternals don't really age like we do, or really at all. So they all look the same age throughout many thousands and thousands of years. Poor Sprite is stuck looking like a child. Obviously, by those who don't know, they treat her like a child. The Eternals treat her like an adult, which she loves, of course. But, that can only go so far. So that's very an interesting... she was interestingly played, I guess I will say, because you feel that, right? Just when she's on screen, you kind of feel that, and little things she says or does, you understand how she's feeling, which is something that they go through in the comics as well. So again, perhaps that helped that I had that comic book background, but I do think they do a great job of showing it. Druig's one of my favorites. I think Barry was fantastic as him. He's that you don't know how you feel about him type of character, which is exactly how he is in the comics as well. He's got an evil streak a little bit, but is he evil? I don't know. He goes back and forth and back and forth. Icarus is fantastic in this. A little different from the comics, and still really enjoyed his character. Selma Hayek was amazing. I mean, Selma, listen, during the press conference, she had me crying about how she never thought she would have this opportunity at her age to be able to be a superhero and looking like she does. I think she said, "I'm short with big boobs. Like, how am I a superhero?" And I think she really appreciated that, and she's so phenomenal in this movie. I feel like I know I'm forgetting people. Gilgamesh is so good too. He brings a lot of the heart and emotion to this, whereas like I said, Kingo brings the humor. Gilgamesh really, really brings that heart. I mean, a lot of the characters bring the heart. Cersei brings the heart. Even Sprite brings a little bit of the heart as a little kid. She is humor as well. Lots of the humor comes from her as well. So, Ajax brings the heart too. I know I'm forgetting people. There's just so many. Like I said, it's 10 characters. Like Athena. Oh my God, how could I forget Athena? So Angelina Jolie, phenomenal as Athena. Again, lots of differences, but similarities from the comics, which I really, really enjoyed. She is dealing with a trauma in this movie, which you find out very early on, so that is not a spoiler, but this character is dealing with a trauma, and Angelina, I thought, did a phenomenal job. Did a really, really, really great job playing that character, and you could see the trauma on her face. And just as things are happening around her, I absolutely thought that was great. I heard a lot of people say they loved her. I heard a few people say they didn't understand why they had cast her in that role, because they could have put anyone in there because she wasn't used enough. But again, you have 10 main characters. You have to spread it out. And that's what I love about it. I feel like they really, truly gave each person their time to shine, no matter who the actor was, right? It's not like, the main actors are going to be on screen all the time. It was like, here's 10 characters. They each have their moments. Let's go. Let's do it. Of course, some are on screen longer than others, just from the nature of things. But they all had their moments. And, oh my God, Gilgamesh has an incredible action scene that I absolutely found to be just engaging, captivating, intriguing. Like, those are words I use for this movie. And I will say this movie is absolutely stunning. I mean, I feel like that goes without saying. Chloe is phenomenal when it comes to that sort of stuff. If you've been around, I wasn't a giant fan of Nomadland, but all I could say was it was gorgeous. And that is what Eternals is absolutely gorgeous. There are moments where there's maybe one character or two characters just sitting there, and it's all outside. Like, it was practical. They were on locations. They weren't on sets, inside of buildings, and you can see them sitting out there, and maybe there's a tree and a sunset, and they've got a little bit of a shadow on them, and it's zoomed out and it pans out, and you're just like, this is stunning. There's so much of that in this. Their time on when they're on Earth, and you see everything. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Basically a love letter to Earth and a love letter to humanity. It was just beautiful. And then in space, when you see the Celestials, oh my goodness. Listen, as a Marvel reader, I have been dying to see Celestials for who knows how long, way too long, and they pulled them off. They are absolutely gorgeous. Wow. Absolutely gorgeous, completely stunning. You're just in awe of them. And they really are able to show just how massive these creatures are, just how massive Celestials are, because I don't think a lot of people realize just how big they are, Like, a lot of people were mentioning Galactus when they saw Arishem in the trailer, and it's like, no. Like, these Celestials are even bigger than Galactus. Like, they're huge. They are giant, and they look amazing. I mean, this movie is visually stunning. pretty much from beginning to end. And talking about other CGI stuff and other visuals, the deviants, for me, I thought looked absolutely amazing. In the action scenes, just when they're there, I mean, they're just incredible creatures and incredibly well done and just pretty to look at, even though you're like, these are deviants, they're not really good. But like, wow, I kind of love looking at them. They're absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh, and how could I forget Phasos? You guys, oh my gosh. No, Brian Tyree Henry is so good in this role. He's phenomenal. I absolutely love what this character brings to the film all throughout it. Lots of amazing action scenes, but he uses his brain, right? He's able to do stuff with machinery that is so freaking cool, and he's actually a very integral part of the entire story. He is a part of those firsts that I talked about in the MCU, one of them, and he's just so good. He brings, again, a lot of heart, some humor too, as we saw in the trailer with the table, he says is from IKEA. That was hilarious. That line is delivered perfectly in the film. He's just such a great addition to the movie. And I mean, in all honesty, literally every single character is so good. It's so hard not to praise them all because they all bring something to the table and they all have that moment to shine. And let's real quick talk about the post-credit scenes. Again, they are out there. I refuse to give you guys spoilers for them. So I know they're out there now, but I still don't want to talk about them too much. I will say there are two. There's a mid-credit and an end credit. Both will blow your mind. Both are game changers. Both are setting up for the future of the MCU to be absolutely insane. I mean, the theater during the mid-credit scene went insane. People are screaming and yelling, and even at the last one too. I mean, gosh, I can't say too much because, again, I refuse to give spoilers here because the movie still doesn't come out for a little while now. So almost 2 weeks. So I just want to say they are game changers. They are amazing. They are exciting. Fans of the comic books are going to be freaking out. And there's several reveals in both of them that are just like, what? And the final line of the final scene, so the very, very last line of the movie, there's some speculation on what exactly it means and what's going on there, but it's very, very, very exciting. One thing I really love about this movie, besides the fact, like I said, it doesn't feel like your typical Marvel movie, there's a lot of firsts in here. Like a lot of firsts. Now, there was a featurette released from Eternals where you see they called Icarus Superman. So yes, there are flat out references to DC in here, which I don't think Marvel has ever done before. I'm pretty sure that's a first, which as a fan of both DC and Marvel was kind of exciting, and I loved those moments. There are some other firsts as well that they are out there, but I do not want to say them, but two pretty major firsts for Marvel movies that had me one, very important and inclusive and very exciting to see. The whole theater cheered. The other one was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And then I really wasn't expecting it to go on for as long as it did. But it was like, it was kind of, I don't want to say exciting because that sounds kind of creepy. But it was nice to see. It changed the feel of the movie. Like, when I say this doesn't feel like your typical Marvel movie, I mean, it doesn't feel like your typical Marvel movie. It's really, really good. Again, though, it's very dense, very heavy. I didn't feel like the pacing was off at all. I really enjoyed the pacing of it. I thought it was good. It kicks right off with some action. Then it does a little bit of exploration and character development. And then you get some more action. And then some character development. And then some humor. And then some character development. And then some action. You know, stuff like that. And it keeps it going. I found it to be very enjoyable. My daughters are 8 and 10. I'm excited to take them. I think they'll really enjoy it. And I think they'll be just as captivated and interested in the story as I was. Just as surprised by certain twists as I was. And I think they're going to be excited about the mid and end credit scenes. Just like I was. This is a movie that I think, yes, it's PG-13. It's 2 hours and 37 minutes. But it is one I think, despite being heavy and dense, that the whole family can enjoy together. If you've been watching those Marvel movies together as a family, this is one you can still enjoy with your kids. It's not too out there. It's not too dense of writing. And I think it's something that a lot of people are going to enjoy. like I said, there's a group of people who won't like it. Maybe people who were expecting another Marvel movie. Like, people are saying that Shang-Chi is a game changer. It's not your typical Marvel movie. And while there is that, there's still that giant battle at the end that feels very much like a Marvel movie, and moments throughout that feel very much like a Marvel movie. This, like, if you changed the Eternals or said, hey, these are just other things, they're not Marvel superheroes, I would believe it, because it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. But there's so much to love here. The effects, the way Sprite uses her illusions is really super cool. It's like little things on her fingers, just little details like that. It was a mind-blowing experience for me. It really was. And perhaps, again, it's because I've just read the comics again. I read them in the past, and I've read them now again. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. Now, I will say I hadn't read much on Eternals until they announced there was going to be an Eternals movie. I read a little bit then, and then I reread the Kirby and the Gaiman run right before leaving for LA for the premiere, and having that fresh in my head really certainly helped. But I just think, again, there's 10 characters. There's a lot going on here to get to know them, and I think each and every one of them is given their moment to shine. There's humor in this. There's heart in this. There's amazing action in this. The visuals are stunning. There's shocks and surprises. There's Celestials, you guys. We have Celestials. It's really happening. It's here. It's gorgeous. Like, I'm just so excited for the future of the MCU. This movie has opened up so many doors. So what I will say in closing about Eternals is that it is a masterpiece. It is a mind-blowing film. For those who know the comics, I think you'll be able to appreciate it a little bit more. But if you don't know the comics, like, listen, just go in there and get ready to get to know these characters, explore them, and learn about them. And, well, along the way, you're probably going to fall in love with at least some of them. There's 10 of them, so, you know, the odds are pretty good that a few of them are going to become possibly your favorites in the future of the MCU. Again, I don't have to tell you, it's a Marvel movie, but stay for the mid and the post-credit scenes. Trust me there, you guys. Well, it is long. It doesn't feel long. And at the same time, each and every moment is given its time to breathe, and you're given time to get to know these characters, which is very important. And I freaking loved it. I mean, honestly, I know this is ridiculous, and you guys are gonna say I'm a shill and yada yada yada, which is not true. I wish they were paying me. I flew myself out to the premiere, guys, so that was my own money, not theirs. I give this movie, seriously, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I gave Shang-Chi a 5 out of 5. I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5. The more I think about it, the more I sleep on it, the more I just loved this movie. I cannot wait to go see it again. If you feel safe to do so, and if you can, definitely head to theaters when it opens on November 5th, you guys. This one deserves to be seen on the big screen. It's absolutely gorgeous. I know I plan to go see it in IMAX with my family because it just needs to be seen that way. It's absolutely visually stunning, if nothing else. I truly hope you guys enjoy it. If by the time you got to this review, you've already seen Eternals, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Again, unfortunately, I don't think this is a movie everyone is going to love, but I truly loved it. I was originally thinking of doing like a 4.5 out of 5, but the more I think about it, just any complaints that I have are so minimal that I can't. I mean, changes from the comics, there's some certain things that annoyed me about characters that I was like, that wouldn't happen. That's not how they are in the comics. But that's just me being ridiculous. Makari! I didn't talk about Makari. Real quick. Makari's amazing. She is an incredible scene. She's a deaf character. The actress is deaf. I think she's great. She runs fast. That's her power. But of course, she does a lot more than that as well. She has some fantastic moments, some heart moments, some hilarious moments. I mean, I am telling you, they did so good at putting everything into this, opening the doors for who knows what to come in the future. All I can tell you is I am excited. I am thrilled. This movie, for me, was perfect. It was perfect. It's definitely in my top 5 of the year, and probably it's close to my top 5 Marvel movies. It really is. Just because it's such a game changer and it's so different and it wasn't what I was expecting, which was a very, very good thing. And the story went in a completely different direction than I thought it would, which I really, really liked. All right, guys, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this, more trailer reactions, movie reviews, television reviews, and celebrity interviews. You guys can follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at MamasGeeky over there, MamasGeeky. Be sure to check out pictures from the premiere, and don't forget to see Eternals in theaters November 5th. Seriously, you guys, you don't want to miss it. I'm so excited for you all to experience it, and I'm so jealous that you get to experience it for the first time, because that's something I wish I could do over and over and over. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.